Hi everyone, welcome to my content expert presentation. As you're familiar with by now, my research interests look at disproportionality in special education for students of color. And so I decided to focus my content expert presentation on a person who I consider to be a social justice warrior. His background is more social foundations of education in nature, but certainly has a lot of overlap for my particular research interests, which is why I chose him. So I'll introduce you to Dr. Jerome Morris, my content expert, and I'll review his vita, essentially, talk about some of his current projects and significance to the field, and then, some future directions and some advice. So Dr. Morris was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and he attended the Birmingham City Schools Central High School. He comes from a very large family. He was a scholar athlete at Austin Peay, playing on their football team, and he earned his PhD in educational policy from Vanderbilt Peabody College of Education. He and his wife currently are big public health advocates, promoting breastfeeding in the African American communities, which I think is really neat. So professionally, he spent the bulk of his career at the University of Georgia. He was a research fellow for the Institute of Behavioral Research, which works to provide services and support that can enhance the quality and relevance of social and behavioral research at the University of Georgia. And there he was also the director of the Race, Class, Place, and Outcomes Research Group and the Interdisciplinary Research Project for Communities and Schools. In 2015, he took a position at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and he is the E. Desmond Lee Endowed Professor for Urban Education there. So I've provided links to some of his most notable publications. Essentially, Dr. Morris looks at how race, class, and place affect educational experiences and opportunities. He's looked at the effects of school desegregation on Black students and communities. He's examined the achievement gap and geographical influences on the achievement gap. He has looked at opportunities for enrichment, such as advanced placement course participation and gifted education for Black students. And he's also analyzed successful urban schools who educate predominantly African American students. Dr. Morris is really concerned with the forgotten voices, so a lot of his research also incorporates family and community member, their experiences and their insights. So again, here are some of his publications, and I provided the direct links so it would be easier for you to find them. So he has been the recipient of several awards, the first of which is the Russell Yeeney Research Award, which recognizes outstanding cumulative research contributions at the national and international that have international impact. And this is provided in honor of Dr. Yeeney, who was on faculty and an administrator at the University of Georgia from 1975 to 1999. Dr. Morris also received the UGA Creative Research Medal in 2010, which honors outstanding research focused on a single theme. He was the recipient of the Feldman Award in 2011, and this comes from the National Council of Family Relations, and it highlights an author of peer-reviewed articles that address significant social policy and add to our understanding of ethnicity and gender. And finally, he was the recipient of the William A. Owens Research Award in 2014, which recognizes faculty with outstanding body of national and internationally recognized scholarly activities in social and behavioral sciences. So obviously, Dr. Morris's research has huge significance to many fields, not just education, but sociology, anthropology, and so on. Notably, he's working to improve equitable educational experiences and outcomes for African American students. And what I think is most promising is it really addresses systems level change through these policy and reform efforts, which has a greater impact. Even though he's working with specific communities and in some situations specific school systems, a lot of this work, because of the multifaceted nature, has promise for generalization across the country. So we can take the results of his studies and apply them to other systems in other areas of the country. What I think is really outstanding about Dr. Morris is his just level of community engagement. So he was the co-founder for Education for Liberation, which is a national coalition of educational stakeholders, so teachers, community activists, researchers, students, and parents. And I think that the more that we can have representation from all of those groups, we have most potential for improved outcomes. He's also a member of the Ford Foundation Secondary Education and Racial Justice Collaborative. He spearheaded the Office of Institutional Diversity at the University of Georgia. And he currently is working with the Public Policy Research Center at University of Missouri St. Louis. And I'll highlight the study that he's working on in the next slide. So the goal of the study that he's leading through the Public Policy Research Center at UMSL is to examine how Black students have benefited from the desegregation movement there. So Dr. Morris shared that, a goal of his is to uphold both promises of the Brown versus Board of Education ruling to both eliminate segregation and to create quality education for Black students. And so this study is looking at the effects of the voluntary interdistrict choice corporation's desegregation plan. So that's the group that oversees St. Louis's desegregation plan. And he's going to be conducting interviews with educational stakeholders, including families. So that's that community-based research component. And some pieces of advice, or the piece of advice that really stuck with me from Dr. Morris, is to just be an expert where you are. I think what's true for most students, graduate students, is that it's really hard to focus narrowly. So either in terms of topic that we're interested in or stage. So I don't know anyone who doesn't want to have the biggest impact ever. In fact, the reason I'm in my current position is because I sought to reach more students than I was able to when I was a school-based school psychologist. Now I'm supporting 22 school districts. And that, I think, has pros and cons, because I'd probably have more direct influence on a smaller stage than I do now, having so many districts I'm supporting. And I think that was Dr. Morris's point, to be an expert in your area of interest and work to really support the community where you are. So not just narrowing your research ideas, but really focus your energies holistically in your community. And what I really like about that mentality is, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, I think it really holds a lot more hope for generalization when we include, all the stakeholders, and we, really work towards systems level change in one place. So given that, I am a school psychologist currently working in a consultation role, a lot of my work is systems level. And so this piece of advice was just really significant and meaningful to kind of my everyday, and something that I definitely need to keep in mind as I continue on through the program and then consider my options following graduation. But I think Dr. Morris is certainly a model for, having meaningful research and impacts on the community. And really that's really what we're here to do anyway. So again, he's currently on faculty at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and I encourage you to familiarize yourself with his work. He holds a writing conference or retreat typically every summer in June or July. And this is an opportunity where national scholars come together and collaborate. So if that interests you, feel free to reach out to me and I can get you his contact information. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the semester that's quickly winding down, and I look forward to seeing you in some of my upcoming classes. Thank you.